is in here with me today. Greetings from Chicago. I love this background. I'm going to let a couple more people join in and then we're going to start. This is a topic that I am so passionate about. Cannot wait to show you guys a lot of the things that we're going to be discussing. And I hope that at the end of this podcast, you guys have a better understanding of what childhood development is. All right, so I'm gonna wait. Y'all ready for Thanksgiving tomorrow? If I could pick up this computer and show you what my uncle is doing in that kitchen, y'all would be so jealous of me because I'm being real good. All right, we're gonna wait. Let's see. I'm just playing with stuff. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. So, our topic tonight was supposed to be about how trauma affects how we raise children. But during the time of planning for that, I saw so many statuses and tweets and just things that were directed towards, excuse me, child development. So I'm like, let me speak on that. Those were signs. Let me take that sign and let me speak on that. So today we're going to talk about, hi Jay. Today we're going to talk about what child development is, right? So when I speak about, for those who do not know me, my name is Tabri Ford. I'm an early child care specialist. I own a small family child care program and I have a degree in early child care. I'm like more than qualified to give out advice, and I really hope that you guys take heed to what I'm saying. My business page is The Learning Fort. So if you guys have any questions, you can head over there, type in or inbox me, and I'll answer your questions to the best of my ability. If not, I'll provide you with resources and you'll go from there. But either way, I'm going to help you. So tonight's show is about childhood development. So although I'm saying early childhood development, I'm saying that because it starts early, right? These things start early and they develop as the children get older. So there are 5 early childhood development domains that we focus on. And I'm going to show you what those are. So those are your social and emotional skills, your language, your cognitive, and your physical or your fine and gross motor skills. So those are the things that preschool teachers look at when we are assessing your child, when we're working with them, having them do activities. We're looking at all of those skills. So I have some really juicy content. I'm going to actually show you guys the assessments that we do for children in our care. So I'm going to show those very shortly, but I want to talk about early childhood development because it also falls into special education, right? So a lot of people, I'm going to show this again. So these 5 things, right? So a lot of people feel like because their child is excelling in most of these things that their child is fine, they're developing great. And that's not always the case. Your child can be excellent with their social skills, their emotional skills, and lack in their fine and gross motor skills or their fine motor skills. And I'm going to explain to you what the difference between those two are when we get there. Excuse me. So these are the domains that we look at. So a lot of the activities that your child does at school during their preschool years focuses on all of these domains. So I'm trying to think of a lesson that I've done because those are the domains. And then we have the standards. And the standards, believe it or not, are the same standards that your child has when they hit elementary school and middle school and high school. We do science, we do math, we do English, we do art, we do music, we do all of those things, and they're all surrounded by these domains. So, um, the difference between fine motor skills and gross motor skills are your fine motor skills are your small skills, like your hands, things that we do with our hands, right? So for me, I don't have really good fine motor skills. One of the things that I cannot do very well is cut with scissors, right? So I'm going to show you guys some scissors. I'm going to show you guys some scissors, right? This part right here, I don't like it. This is uncomfortable for me, and I can't figure out how to do it while I'm cutting. I also can't like cut on the lines. Like I see the lines, I do, but like cutting on a straight, like cutting straight lines and edges, not my thing. It's not my thing at all. But I excel in other areas, but that area is something that I need to work better on, even at my big age of 32. So I'm going to show you age by age. I actually have them compared from 1 to 2, 2 to 3. I'm sorry, no, I don't. I have it 1 to 2, 3 to 4, and then 5 and up. Those are the assessments that I have today. So I'm going to first start with, no, I'm not. Let me backtrack. So also with these assessments, right? So you have your general assessments, that's part of the development. And then you have the way your child thinks, your child behaves, their social skills. That's a whole different set of developments that we also focus on that can also be a sign that your child is developing differently from their peers, which is okay. Everybody develops at their own pace and at their own way, but the way that they develop specifically may be, signs of a neurological disorder that they may have, such as autism, ADHD, anything like that. So I'm going to break this down for you guys. And then if you have any questions, post them in the comments and I will read them when I can. But I'm just going to show you what educators look for when we're assessing your child. So let's go with what's communication. All right. So this is the communication assessment that we do for 1-year-olds and 2-year-olds. There are assessments in between these two that we do. I'm just showing you the basics. And if you guys can look up in the right corner, you see that it has different months on them. So this 12-month assessment is for children that are right before they turn 1 and then right after they turn 1. They're supposed to be doing these things. And if they're or doing or starting to do, I'll say that, doing or starting to do these things, they're supposed to be communicating like this, right? So that's for that. Then we have their gross and fine motor skills. And when your child is 1, 2, even 3 years old, we always suggest that you guys allow them to do things on their own. That's part of their critical thinking skills. So, yes, allow them to feed themselves, allow them to dress themselves, allow them that ability to do things. And if they need help, know that they can ask you for help. So, this is the difference between a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old's gross and fine motor skills. Um, this is the difference between their problem solving and personal social. And this is their emotional. Uh-oh. Is that nope, that is something completely different. Don't mind that. I'm about to get into that though. So, like, this is a general assessment that we do for children in this age group. And I'll go through 3 and 4-year-olds. Give me a second. 3 and 4-year-olds, this is what they're supposed to be doing or saying. This is supposed to be what they're supposed to be doing with their gross and fine motor skills. So you see here for the 2-year-old and the 3-year-old, sorry, They also start doing this around 2.5, stringing bees and writing, because we want to make sure that, I don't know if you guys can see me off this camera, but we want to make sure that your child is knowing how to grip and write with pens, because that's the next step once they turn 3 and 4, is to get them to start writing. If your child they can't figure this out, then we have to help them get here. So the pen might be too thin, they might need a thicker pen, they might need a gripper, they might need something to help them hold this pen. So, pencil. And that's why it's also appropriate that your child has age appropriate materials. Their crayons at 1 and 2 are supposed to be the thick, chunky crayons so they can really grip it. And then as they get older, they won't need to grip as much because they understand how to hold a writing material, a writing tool, should I say. All right, so that is 3 and 4. Then we have problem solving skills. Children are supposed to be able to answer these questions and do these things at 3 and 4 years old. Let me actually go back, because again, if you look in this corner, it's for 3-year-olds or students about to be 3 and a little bit after 3. So you have to really pay attention to what's in the corner, because a lot of people like to say, well, my child just turned 4, so it's okay if they're not doing this, which is okay, it is, but this stuff is supposed to be started at 45 months. They're supposed to be practicing doing these things. So by the time they hit 50 months and 30 days, we're good to go. Or they're starting to evolve from these things and getting into other things. So this is 3 and 4. I'm going to show you guys just a full assessment and what it looks like. This is for a 5-year-old. Yes. 4.5 after 5, 4.5, 5.5-year-old. This is what a full assessment will look like for them. At the end of each assessment, there are questions that they ask providers or parents, like, do you have any concerns? Just all these other questions, and they take that into consideration on what you say. And this is the part, actually the whole thing, honestly, is where you're supposed to be honest, because we want to make sure that we're helping your child if they need help. And this is really important to get these steps, to get this intervention early, because a lot of people like to wait until their child gets to kindergarten. And once their child gets to kindergarten, that's when they're doing what a lot of other parents are doing, like, oh man, maybe my child does need help. But at that point, like I said, a lot of other parents are realizing their child needs help. So like, you have wait lists, you have large wait times to get help. Once they hit public schools, a lot of these teachers don't have the knowledge to deal with certain students, so they try to make you medicate your child. Like, it's a mess. So we, as early child care providers, we do our best to get you to get that help early, that early intervention before they hit grade school, because if you live in Florida, it's a shit show. So that's like a general, right? And what the Early Learning Coalition is doing now is they're focusing a lot more on your child's mental, emotional development. So I'm going to show you what those look like. If you guys don't know, or this is your first time joining in, I've been diagnosed with autism and ADHD, and I can honestly say the adults around me completely missed the signs growing up. And I'm going to start with the 12-month, the 1-year-old emotional and I'm sorry, the 1 and 2-year-old emotional and emotional and support assessment. So like for me, I'm gonna go to the 2-year-old, the 2-year-old. So for me, as a child, one of the questions says, when upset, can your child calm down within 15 minutes? The answer for me is no. Still can't till this day, cannot. It takes me more than 15 minutes to calm down. Sometimes it takes me a day, a week, a month, a year, depending on the situation. But these are some of the things that you guys that they look for when assessing your child for that. And these answers, this will let us know neurologically if your child is developing for their age or if they have some other things going on that you may need to be assessed. I don't like to label children unless it's necessary. So again, for me, if I would have got that label as autistic or ADHD growing up in school, I would have been a lot more better than I was. Just FYI. So that is 1 to 2 year old. This one right here is 3 to 4 year olds, and as you can see, some of these questions are changing. So it's still, at 4 years old, does it still take your child more than 15 minutes to calm down? Yes. But and it also says, does your child like to be hugged or cuddled? No, I don't like to be touched. Do not touch me. So also all these things were telling you they missed these signs. So all these things were very visible as a child for me. Like I said, the adults that raised me completely missed them or maybe didn't understand them. So yeah, this is for 3 and 4 year olds. And then the 5 year old one, I guess I could have put this in the middle. It's basically the same questions, but if you guys can see, these are the same questions from when they were 1 year old. From when they were 1 to 5. And if your child is still like not able to do these things, that should be a sign that, hey, something more is going on internally that I need help with or that I don't understand. But overall, my child needs help and we should get them that help. So if you guys have ELC or the school readiness voucher or VPK voucher, we can do these things and we'll get a result. And the results will look something like this. This is from an old student of mine. But as you can see, their communication, growth spine, problem solving, and personal social skills were great. They're on par. But their social emotional results, there were some answers that there were some answers that were not that the child didn't hit. So it's like, So, and if this child was still with me, we would have had to do it again in 6 months to see like how they are socially and emotionally. And if it still would have said monitoring or concern, then they would have had to get an evaluation from the early steps program, or at this point they would have been turning 3, so they would have been going into the fiddlers. Also with these assessments, after a child turns 3, and they get assessed and they realize that they can benefit from the Fiddlers program, they will take your child from wherever program they're at, if they're in a child care setting or anything like that, and they will put them into a public school that has the supports that your child needs. So if your child has a speech delay, their language isn't where they're supposed to be for their age, they'll put them in a school where there's a speech pathologist there and they'll get speech, I don't want to say lessons. That just doesn't sound appropriate. They'll get speech. I'm just going to say lessons, whatever. They'll get speech lessons once or twice a week, 3 times a week, depending on how much help they need. So that is something that the state of Florida, I know Pinellas County does it for sure, but that is something that we do to help students and parents. And if I didn't say it before, I'm going to say it now. All this is free. These assessments are free. The interventions are free. The help is free. Everything is free. If your child needs any type of device or weights, like if they're too hyper, they don't label unless it's a very severe case. So if your child is very hyper, they might offer you a weighted blanket or a weighted vest to put on your child while they're doing their work so they can focus on what they're supposed to be doing. Or if your child is very restless at night and they're just, they're tired, but they're just everywhere. They'll give your child a weighted blanket. And some of us as adults, go through these things and we don't understand what's happening. But I can tell you now, if you get an assessment, they'll be able to help you, but you're gonna have to pay. Sorry, you don't fit underneath that free category. Um, yeah, I think that is it for this show. But I do want to add on to it. That was just for the development part, but I do want to add on to it. Your child, every child learns at a different stage, different age. That's we know that. While your child is learning, as a parent, the healthy discipline that you have to display will I'm sorry, the discipline that you display while they're developing is going to affect them if it's negatively, right? So if your child is stringing beads, right, and they're going slow, too slow for you, and you like, hurry up, come on, dang, move, string it. That's going to make them go like this, and they're probably going to shut down. They're probably not going to be able to do it because they're startled, they're scared, and now they're probably going to just not do it at all, which is going to frustrate you even more. So suggestions for that is just be calm with your child, be patient, offer them help, or suggest that they ask for help if they need help. Just be present for your child. If they're doing things that are making you, excuse me, upset, step away from your child, calm yourself down so that when you come back, you're able to calm the situation, help your child, and do whatever you need to do to make sure that there's a positive solution for the both of you guys. I feel like I literally rushed through that. um, wow, this I really went fast. I went fast, y'all. I did. Huh. All right. Are there any questions? I'm gonna turn the comments on. Brianna, it's really vital to get early intervention. Correct. And I don't know how to send you the link, but Brianna, if you are watching, would you like to come on and explain how your experience was with getting your child help, getting your child early intervention? It wasn't fast. Okay, good. It wasn't fast. Brianna, would you like to come on? Let's see if she say yes. Copy. I would have to be in the dark, child. That's fine. We just need to hear your voice. I'm gonna send you a link. You can be in the dark. People just need to hear your voice. We don't gotta see what you look like. We know you cute. We see your profile picture. This is actually one of my really, really good friends. I'll let her tell her story because it's her story to tell and not mine. But I will just say that she was unaware of what was going on with her children, and she didn't know. And so when I saw that, I reached out and I helped her. I sent it to your email. Are there any more questions? I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I had a list and I felt like I read that. I was just going, y'all. So I get really, really excited, but I want to make sure that I don't say the wrong things and that you guys are able to receive the message that I want to send because again, I know it is not easy raising children, especially younger children. Hey Bree. Why I can't hear Bree? Bree got to turn her mic on. Hey Bree.
You can hear me?
I can't.
Yes, you can see me and everything.
Yes.
Hi, everyone.
Hey Bree.
Hello. So, yes, I have a lot of background noise. Kids in the background. Ernest is bathing them. Thank the Lord. Um, So, do you just want me to start?
Yeah, start with some of the concerns you had about your child, and then
Okay.
how he changed, and then you were just, and then from there.
Okay. So basically, Kingston was born in 2017, and he was kind of I don't want to say delayed, but he wasn't meeting like a lot of the goals in my eyes, obviously, because like people always say, oh, your baby should be walking for they turn one and all this and that. So Kingston didn't start walking until he was 18 months, but he still said words and even phrases like baby too big and different things. And so around that time, like when he started walking around like 18 months, he had a big regression. And so in the beginning, we just thought it was because around 18 months is when I had his sister Rosie. And so we just thought, oh, like he's just regressing because he sees a baby, so he's acting like a baby.
And
But
that
the more,
happens.
because that does happen, yeah, for sure. So like, I like his, sorry, crying kids in the background, but this is reality, okay? Y'all who want to have kids, this is what y'all life gonna look like. Just okay. Anyways, so basically we took him to the doctor because he wasn't picking up back with his speech, and so the doctor told me like, oh, like it's normal. And Keiston was doing like this like gibberish, like the wild thornberries Donnie. He sounded like like just funny to us, so of course we were laughing. And so like it just started becoming a problem. So like a little bit after he turned 2, he was still talking like that and stuff. And then we I posted a video of him mocking a movie, and that's when Tabri was like, oh, like I didn't really know Keeson was like this. Like, what do you need? Because of course I've never dealt with a child like, that wasn't talking at the appropriate age.
Right.
So after that, the ball really started rolling once I actually knew that there could possibly be something going on with him.
Yes. And that process. So I want to say, and she will confirm this, but like a lot of the doctors, they like to tell you guys, oh, that's normal.
Yeah.
They're fine. They're more out of it. Da-da-da,
Mm-mm.
da-da-da. But as a adult, I don't want to keep saying parent because a lot of kids are not being raised by the parent. But as an adult that's in tune with their child, you know can you offer April? I'll answer your questions in a minute. Um, these are some really good questions too. Um, these doctors will literally brush off your concerns. So sometimes you're going to have to go to new doctor me please, new doctor me please, because you're not listening to what I'm telling you. My concerns are about my child. I know this is not normal. Okay.
Yeah, that was the process I went through because we were going to, and I'm calling out names. We were going to St. Peter's. So what? What they gonna do? So, anyways, we are going to St. Petersburg Pediatrics in Pinellas Park, and the guy, the head doctor there was telling me that nothing was wrong with Kingston. Okay, new doctor. But at the time, their insurance only took St. Petersburg Pediatrics. So I had to go from, because this was in the beginning. This is when I didn't know I could like I didn't know specifics, and I get into that later too. But like there is a special needs insurance that they have now. So like I have more access to doctors that actually know how to deal with Kingston. Like spoiler alert, he was diagnosed with autism. So
How
anyways,
old is he?
oh, he just turned 5. And we've been doing this for 3 years, and we just got an answer. So anyways, though, they wouldn't give me an answer. They kept saying like, oh, um this is normal. Okay, new doctor. So then I went to another office with St. Petersburg Pediatrics, another office, St. Petersburg Pediatrics. And they was saying like, oh, nothing's wrong. Okay, new doctor. So then that was in Seminole. And then I went to the one, yeah, because I'm saying names. And then I went to the one in Largo. And when I went to the one in Largo, the doctor was like, no, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm going to give you, she gave me all these papers, just a bunch of papers. Like, she was a Spanish lady. And she was like, no, this, like, your son is healthy, but he's lacking in a lot of areas. So like she pushed me in the right direction. So again, Tabri started the ball, and it just started rolling after that because nobody was listening to me. Nobody would take me serious. And I obviously, like, if of course you don't want to compare your kids, but you have to be honest. You know what I'm saying? You have to really remove your emotions out of it. Because the more you have your emotions in it, you're gonna be getting mad and frustrated. Like everybody else kid doing this and this, and your child not doing it. But you have to remove yourself, because if you don't, you're just gonna set them up for failure because, oh, they'll get it. And you sleeping it under the rug. You have to honestly just, again, remove yourself and say, you know what, something isn't right. My kid is special. They're beautiful. They're healthy. All this and that. But you have to really be honest and truthful, and so you can get your child the best help that you want them to have in the future. So
Um,
yeah.
I'm going to ask you a question because it goes into what a question I just received from April Cobb.
Mhm.
She asked, "What recommendations can you offer parents that are not getting the necessary supports from staff, teachers, administration, etc., to meet your child's academic and behavior needs?" Now, her son did not go to my school; he went to a different school.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you want to talk about how he was when he was in school before he got moved to his new school.
Before he was moved to his new school, in the beginning, like I said, because he was at the same daycare. So in the beginning, he was, talking. But when the regression started to happen, it was just like, oh, like, and again, we chunked it up to the fact that, being my daughter was born. So once I've said something like, hey, he's going to get speech therapy, like, I just let them know, like, this is what's going to happen next. If they won't help you, find somebody else. Find somebody else. Get the answer from your doctor. If the daycare isn't wanting to fill out the ASQ, whatever it may be, get it from your doctor. The daycare didn't push for this. The doctor did. And once the doctor gave me the information, then I was able to move forward with getting the information. And then the daycare was open. They're like, oh, okay, you need this and this. He needs a separate room for therapy. He's been getting therapy since he was like, I'll say like 2.5 or 3 years old.
Do you think his teachers felt like there was something different from him, or they was just let him come to school?
Um, it's kind of hard to say because they had Kingston since he was a baby. So like it's almost like, I don't want to say they didn't notice it, but it was just like, oh, that's just how he is. Like that's how he's acting now. But like I said, once I said something and was like, hey, he needs this, like he's gonna need extra help with like therapy, XYZ, they were totally open to it. So I can't say, 'cause I can ask them like, what you thought was wrong, because I mean, like I said, because they saw him, they've had him from when he was, before he was one, honestly. So they saw him grow, walk, and everything. Finally, we decided to walk. So for him to make that, and it wasn't like an abrupt, like just one day he talking, next day he not, and so it was like a gradual situation.
Okay.
So I don't think they really noticed it, maybe. Or if they did, maybe they were like, well, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. I had to come outside because, wow.
Okay, I'm going to answer your second question first and then your first question. So, April, the unfortunate truth about a lot of these childcare providers are they're not educated on how to notice signs and symptoms of children developing differently from other students, right? And so my major is early childhood education, my minor is special education. So I am all in. I used to also work at a school called Nina Harris ESC Center. So I got like a lot of hands-on knowledge, and I saw it firsthand on like how to deal or how to see the signs and how to help and all things like that. So it is very interesting. In another podcast that I'm going to do later on, I'm going to actually show you guys how easy it is to get these clock hours that DCF says that we have to have, and how the material in these trainings aren't even touching what teachers are going to have to deal with when they step into a classroom. Like, it's, when I tell you, it's so sad, and my heart goes out to adults who have children in early child care settings who don't have teachers with the knowledge because they miss these signs. they totally missed them, and they're just like, my child, the student is difficult, the student is bad. Who, don't get me started on that word. So okay, so for you, what recommendations can you offer? First, you have to go to the teacher and go to the director and be like, hey, so I'm seeing that my child is X, Y, and Z. First, do you guys have any concerns about my child? Because a lot of teachers don't like confrontation. And again, a lot of teachers don't know what they're seeing. So they'll just like, oh no, they're fine. They're not a problem. Like, they have their days, but it's okay. But really, it's so much more to that. So my thing would be, go to the staff first with your concerns, just to see if they have any concerns, and then go from there. And if you get answers that are not settling for you, then you're going to have to find another school that makes you comfortable with leaving your child there, knowing that the staff knows how to properly handle your child. I don't like using that word handle, but properly care for your child. And then the second thing, what are some simple things parents can do to support their, first you have to realize what is it that they're struggling with, right? So I'm going to just use myself as an example. I'm autistic. I don't really like loud noises and sounds, right? So if I'm around something and it's a loud noise and sound, I now as an adult I use my words, but as a child I would just like look and just punch that person or something, because you're too loud, you're hurting my ears, right? And so I'm being labeled as bad and difficult, but it's just like, I'm not. Those sounds are just bothering me. They're so loud. I don't like loud sounds. Um, so you would just have to figure out what it is that your child is struggling with and come up with a plan. I don't know, how old is your child? Because also with child development, you can get an IEP for your child, and you can also get a 504 plan for your child. The difference between the two is an IEP, if I'm not mistaken, it is 13 disabilities under the IDEA Act. So the IEP is a plan. Like, if your child has a speech delay, there's goals that your child has to meet under this IEP, right? The 504 plan is more like accommodations. My little one's just turned 6. Yes. So your child can get an IEP or a 504 plan. A 504 plan covers like the inclusion one lot is a free. Yes, thank you, Miss Diana. You have to see, have you gotten your child observed yet, assessed by a psychologist or psychiatrist? That's the first question, because it looks like your child might be on somebody's spectrum, whether it's autism or ADHD or something, and they might need more than what the school is providing them. And or the school just might need extra help with helping your child. So let me go back because I am missing. So yeah, and then sometimes, honestly speaking, a lot of kids don't do well with large structure, large environments. I know I don't. A lot of people laugh when I say this, but I don't like being around large crowds. Like, I don't like working with other people a lot of times. I like small crowds, quietness, like, keep me here. Because if I get too overly stimulated or too overwhelmed, then it's not going to be cute. And I will also post some free resources. Actually, no, I won't. If you go on my website, thelearningfort.org, I have a resource tab page, and it has all information for the Early Steps program, Fiddlers program. If you need childcare, I have the Early Learning Coalition. Early learning. Yeah, I have that under there. I have the SR plus. I have all of that. So I'll type my website in. And you guys can go there. And also you can also send me a message. You can send me a message and I'll get back to you. Is there an age range? No. So the early learning steps is birth to 2. Fiddlers is 3 to 5. That's like their focus, but they go to 3 to 21. So if you have concerns and you went through your doctors and they're not hearing you out, go to another one or go to your child's school. Six is kindergarten. So go to like the teacher or the guidance counselor and be like, hey, I would like to get my child assessed with fiddlers. Also, with fiddlers and their early intervention, you do not need a referral. You as the adult can call and be like, hi, I have some concerns from my child, and they go from there based off of what you said. So you don't need a doctor's referral or anything. You can do it on your own free will and get your baby help. But yes, I'm going to piggyback off what you said. Many children of color, it does take a lot longer for us to be diagnosed or get the proper help that we need because a lot of us, we have pride issues. We don't want our child labeled, right? We don't want our child to be picked on. We don't want any of that. My child is fine, right? My child is smart. That's always like the first thing people say when you have concerns about their child's academic or behavior. My child is smart. So was I. Lots of Mac J. Williams awards, lots of honor rolls, lots of college degrees. I'm very smart, but I need help in certain areas that outweighs my good grades. Like, um, make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, so a lot of us do have, we're already late. And then a lot of parents, like Brianna said, the doctor said it's fine. So a lot of parents be like, well, my child's fine. The doctor said it's fine. But you know.
Can I add something real quick?
Yes.
The with the fiddlers and the early steps, it happens like for, and we did ours during COVID.
You're
We
welcome.
did, what is it?
No, I was telling her you're welcome.
Oh yeah, but we did ours during COVID, and it was fine. Like it, like as soon as we reached out, maybe it took like 3 weeks, and next thing you know, we already had, um, someone come in. Well, we had someone come into our home in the beginning just because of COVID and stuff. We couldn't go out, and then eventually they started just going right to the daycare and just doing therapy with Kingston. So like, don't think, oh, like the with what, oh, because words are hard, but but going through the Pinellas County with the early steps and the fiddlers and all that, that is very smooth. It's the other stuff that took a long time for us, like getting a medical diagnosis. That's the hardest part because those doctors are backed up. Some doctors we called were backed up a year and a half. So that was the longest part. But early steps and fiddlers, they're awesome. They get you in as soon as possible. Even with my daughter, she has a speech delay. Like literally, I think I reached out to them maybe like right after she turned two, maybe like 3 weeks later, she was already into the program.
Yep.
Like it's not a long process. That process is not long at all. So if you feel like they need it, try to get, again, early intervention is the best. So if you feel like they need it, do it now. Do it now so that you won't have to worry about the hard stuff later on.
And also with early intervention, you have people backing you. Like you
Hmm.
have your child's school, you have yourself, you have your specialist that's helping you. Everybody's
Yep.
backing you.
Hmm.
I agree. Think about the benefits rather than what the kid struggles with. Help parents and caregivers come to terms. It is hard to tell someone their kid may need a screening. Lead with the benefits for the child. And that is correct. It is hard. It is hard. Because nobody wants to hear that their child isn't perfect. Because for some reason, adults want kids to be perfect. And that is, get that out your mind because kids will never be perfect. You're not even perfect. So it's really it's very beneficial. Like I personally know Brianna, so I've seen her son go from what he was to where he's at now, and it's so beautiful. And she'll tell you sometimes she still has her days where she's like, "Wow, this is really tough," and then there's days where she's like, "He was just amazing. Like that's my baby." So It's a lot, but once you get that ball rolling, some days are going to be better, and the older they get, it gets a little bit easier. And I can say to Miss Diana, or I don't, I'm just gonna call you Miss Diana. Even when you do lead with the benefits, for some adults, they still don't want to hear it. No, like I said, nobody wants to hear that their child isn't developing um perfectly. Nobody wants to hear that. And these developments can be something so minor. Like, for instance, for me with my fine motor skills, growing up, I probably just needed to play with, growing up, I probably just needed to strengthen it more and just be coached a little bit better. Just be coached a little bit better. The adults that I grew up with, no one had patience. So, like, if I'm cutting, I'm gonna try to use these scissors. So if I'm cut, because if I'm a perfectionist as well, but that comes from trauma. But if I'm cutting and I mess up, I have adults yelling and screaming at me. Now it's just like, I don't want to cut anymore. So now I'm just going to cut whatever. And I don't care because I'm in trouble anyways because I messed up. And that's where it comes. I'm going to get into like healthy discipline, coaching your kids and letting them know that it is okay to make mistakes. Oh my gosh. As adults, we still make mistakes. It is okay to make mistakes. As an adult, we're supposed to give suggestions on how we can do it better the next time, right? Make the kids feel good. Like, all right, I made a mistake, but next time I can do this, right? So I can tell you now at my program, spilling milk, that is like the most common things children do, right? When my kids spill milk while they're eating breakfast, lunch, or taking it to the trash, I don't start screaming, why you spilled? I don't do any of that. It's, oh no, you made a mess. And they'll be like, yeah, my kids also, they know the routine. So they know if they make a mess, they go, oh, I made a mess. They'll let me know they made a mess. And I'll get the spray and they'll get the napkin and we work together and we wipe it up. Because you have to think, in the real world, if you're at a restaurant as an adult, if you accidentally spill your drink, is somebody yelling at you? Is the waitress yelling at you? Is your date yelling at you, cursing you out, making you feel small for making a small mistake? No, nobody is doing that. So we need to treat children with the same respect that we would treat ourselves. Because at the end of the day, children are still little humans who are learning how to live in this world. And I also would like to say, when it comes to raising children, I use this metaphor all the time. Adults are like tour guides, right? These children have never been here before. You have. You're there to guide them, to help them, to sit back and let and see what they can do, intervene when necessary, and then step back and let them continue doing what they're doing. That's all we're here for. We do not own children. We do not control children. These children don't owe us anything. We're just here to help these kids grow up healthy and wholesome and have a great life. That's it. They're literally trying to figure it out. So, and as kids, they're supposed to be in an environment where they can just freely explore and be explained, hey, let's not touch the stove. The stove gets really hot and I don't want you to get hurt, right? Something like that, instead of cursing and yelling and startling them because they were curious about something. We got to do better with patience when it comes to kids. We have to do better with understanding, again, the development and being okay with knowing that our child might be a little delayed in some areas, but that's okay because with help, they can get back on par. There was a Facebook post that I posted a while ago, and somebody commented and said that their child had a speech delay and how the husband was just so against it. And she was just like, well, I'm going for it. And they ended up agreeing to just get the child the help. And the child is, I want to say, doing better than most kids in the classroom now. So just small stuff, they just need that extra push. And again, adults, a lot of us aren't knowledgeable on how to raise children. So as adults, parents need support. They also need, I agree, parents do need support. Parents also do need programs. Unfortunately, there's not a lot. Brianna was telling me these parent classes that you guys take um, when you have babies. She was like, they don't, everything they teach you in them classes ain't it? Like,
No, they just teach you the bare minimum. They just teach you about, when your baby is first born, how to hold them, different poses, how to wash them, change them. They probably taught me some other stuff, but that was 5 years ago, 6 years ago, honestly. And I don't remember any of it. But now that I have a toddler and a preschool age child, I am winging it real hard. And it's not like I have good parent groups, because let's be real, parent groups are the worst. People judge you, people talk bad about you. And even like sometimes your own family will make you feel bad about things that's going on with your child. Like I remember once I was talking to my family about Kingston, and him talking like, this is but like way back when he was talking like Donnie from the Wild Thornberries. And one of my family members was like, well, maybe that's how you guys sign to him, when you're yelling at him. So then I was like, I didn't say nothing back because and also because who you talking to? But also, like, I was taken aback, like, dog, like, do I really be like shouting at Kingston like that? Like, so then it just turned into like this whole thing where I was like internalizing, like, man, am I yelling at Kingston all the time? XYZ, like, so it's really hard. It's such a hard thing to try to navigate, again, because we have no one guiding us. We out here having these kids. Is we're gonna, we're excited about a pregnancy, and it's great. And then when they start getting older, you're just like, oh, what do
What
I
is
do
this?
now?
What is this? And like she said, parents need champions for kids. Have great parent groups. SNAP is a great parent. SNAP, the food program. And is this program in Hillsborough or is this in Pinellas or both? Um, yeah, a lot of parents do need support. Unfortunately, like she said, there are a lot of people, adults, that are very judgmental. Like they look at you funny when you say, "Yeah, my child is 3 years old and they don't talk yet." And it's like, "Oh, why her child not talking? Why her child not doing that? Why?" Because they're not. You gonna help me get them to where they need to be, or you gonna hush? And that's unfortunate. And um teachers are so teachers and parents, we're supposed to be like, or teachers and adults raising kids, we're supposed to be like this, right? You're supposed to be able to lean on me, I'm supposed to be able to lean on you, because at the end of the day, our concern is what's best for this child, right? And like I said, a lot of parents, when it comes to, I always say, people say I'm a great teacher until I have concerns about their child's behavior or academics or development, sorry. And then once I say that, then it's, I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm not as great, it's a mess. And I'm like, well, that ain't. But for parents, you're just going to have to create your own village of people that you trust, people that have you and your children's best interests at heart. And again, like she said, sometimes your family is not the best for that, because a lot of your family like to pass on these toxic and unhealthy um, traumas on how to raise children. And it's like, that don't work for me. That didn't work for me. I'm not going to make it work for that's just not it. I'm all for, I don't whoop children. I don't believe in whooping children. That's just me. I feel like children need explanations, right? Explain to the child why, hold the child accountable, make sure that the punishment that I'm sorry, the discipline that you give the child, the consequence that you give the child is appropriate to the action. Beating a child for not washing the dishes, okay. The appropriate response to that would be, if you don't wash them tonight, tomorrow is just going to be more dishes, so you better wash them tonight. Like, you guys have, we as a community have to get better with how we are choosing to discipline these kids, and the consequences that we're giving them has to make sense. It cannot be based off of our feelings or on what we think, because it's not, sometimes we're not correct. All right, trying to see if there are any more questions. Does anybody have any more questions or would like to say anything else? Brianna, would you like to add anything before we sign off?
Just keep fighting for your child. Don't give up. It is hard. Every day is can be challenging, but at the end of it, when you're sitting back and you're laying down in your bed, you think about like you're doing a good job, but you have to keep fighting, because if you don't keep fighting, then your child will suffer. And the worst, everybody knows they hate when their child gets sick. It's the worst feeling. You wish you could just take the sickness away from them. So think of it like that. If you don't get your child the help that they need in that moment, or keep fighting for that help, it's going to be just like that. You're going to see them suffer, and there's nothing you can do about it when you actually could have took the time to work. So don't give up. Keep fighting. It's going to be worth it. Even with Kingston's diagnosis, my Ernest's being and my husband are going back and forth. But even with Kingston getting his diagnosis, I still have more work to do. But I know that when he gets older, and even next year, he could be doing some really great things, and it's because I'm not going to stop. If I have to go to 12 meetings, in the next, few months. I don't want to go to the meetings. I don't want to go, but I'm going to go, and I'm going to ask questions, and I'm going to, have them explain things to me, and show him stuff, because you have to put your foot down and be strong and fight, because he can't advocate for himself and say, "Mommy, you know what? X, Y, and Z." So we have to do it. So if you're in the struggle right now, keep going. We're all rooting for you. That's all I
Yeah.
got.
Keep, and I like that you said, because you are your child's first advocate, first and foremost. You have to stand up for your child. Also, another thing that I would like to add on to what she said was you really have to take your feelings and your ego out of your parenting, out of it. Figure, if you know, and a lot of parents don't see this. You know that. So for me, I had a student that had an issue with cutting a while back, right? And the student is, trying to cut, the classmates are cutting, but a lot of things the parents don't see is their child feeling defeated because they can't do it and everybody else is doing it. And that's for me, I don't have any kids. My students are my kids. And it's just like, I feel that, like, oh, I want to help this baby so bad, but I can't sign off on getting their assessments. That's their parents' job, or the adults. That's their caregiver's job. I can't do it. Only thing I can do is say, hey, I noticed this. I think this will be beneficial for them. And it's on the parents. So if the parent says, no, I'm not doing that, then as a teacher, because I'm so passionate about what I do, I will do my best to help that child and to just try to get them to do what they need to do. But after a while, I take my hands off because I can't save every child that comes in my care. That's their parents' responsibility. I'm just here to provide the resources and to help guide. Diana, I am going to get more information on that so I can share it with my school age friends and other adults. Oh, thank you. I'm going to get more information and share it on my personal and the Learning Forts page. But yeah, I'm about to cry because I'm really about to cry. Wow. I really do have a passion for our children, especially our minority children, because we're already overlooked, right? I'm really about to cry. This is crazy. They're already overlooked. So it's just like, I don't I don't want these children to be statistics because their caregivers um, are prideful, right? So for me, I'm going to do as much as I can. I'm really about to cry. I'm going to do as much as I can to help and to provide those resources and to make sure that the parents have everything that they need everything that they need, because I don't want to see children suffer. And I used to work for Pinellas County Schools, and I can tell you firsthand, they don't really care about your kids. Like, your kids are walking money signs to them. If you really knew the business behind these public schools, you would be disgusted. But that's not my That's not what I do. I'm just here to help because I want these kids to be prepared for um, public school, and I want these parents to have these resources so that they can stand up for these schools and these teachers, because also a lot of these teachers do not have the proper qualifications to teach your child. So you have to be on guard and ready to advocate for your child at every cost, because I mean at every chance, because it can get ugly. And I also want to mention, because I said that, a lot of parents are afraid to get their child assessed because they don't want them to be medicated. That's not always an option. That's not like the first thing they're going to mention. It, hey, do you want to try medicine? You don't have to. You can go on the alternative route, and if you do agree to medicine, you can just ask them for the lowest dosage and see what happens from there. Because again, I'm against medicine, but I do know that it is helpful for a lot of these kids, especially these younger kids. Like for me, I have really bad ADHD and I probably should get on some medicine, but I fight against it because I just don't like those side effects. I really just cried, y'all.
It's okay.
I really just cried. But that's just the kind of person I am when it comes to childcare and fighting for our youth, because they need somebody that's going to advocate for them. These parents need somebody that's going to help them advocate for their child. And that's me. So, all right, I'm gonna go eat some cookies. My uncle made me some cookies. I'm gonna go eat some cookies. And until next time, I will speak to you guys later. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope you guys have a wonderful day tomorrow. I can't wait to see some of y'all's pictures. Please don't post y'all plates. We all eating the same thing. All right, bye.